Alright. So far this is not an impressive storm. Maybe producing a little hail. Up to 3/4 of an inch for the severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like it's precautionary at the moment, but these storms are growing quickly. So if you're in the area, let me know what's going on in the chat, because I'm not seeing much on the cameras right now. Let me pull some more cameras up. Let's see here. $270 might be a better bet. Let's see if we can get anything on camera here. There we go. So you can see there, slow moving dark clouds, but that's about it. It's at 270 in Tuckerman Lane. But otherwise not a lot happening so far. Not really seeing much, honestly. It's a small storm. It's barely got heavy rain in it, much less the severe warning. I guess is just precautionary at this point. It's got a flash flood warning now in the Gaithersburg, Germantown area. So it's putting out heavy rain, central Montgomery County until 4:30, flash flooding. And it is starting to produce some lightning, so it is strengthening, and as they all are. But this is the first severe thunderstorm warning we've had today. And it's in the Olney area, moving northeast towards Baltimore. Basically like up 108. So it's kind of in between 29, 70, and 270, and then it's more or less just a small cell headed towards Ellicott City, Columbia, and right up that strip. but it's mostly just really heavy rain. You can see the rain starting to fire up on the bottom screen. Let's see if I can get a better shot on the Route 29 cameras. There's just not much to see at the moment. Not really. Can you hear me? I'm just trying to look through the cameras to see if I can see anything of importance, but it's really not that bad. It's just heavy rain. And that's how most of the storms are going to go today. They're not going to be that bad. It's just going to be... There's a good shot. This camera has been pointing north into the sky for quite some time, and it's catching the storm as it's passing overhead. So here's a good shot of it. This is at 29 in Stewart Lane. So pretty much evil dark clouds as usual this time of day, but this is mostly heavy with rain. It's generating some lightning. I'm not seeing much wind at all. It's very slow moving. So it's going to be basically like we had yesterday, where, you know, tons of lightning, very evil looking clouds, loud lightning and thunder, and heavy, heavy rain more than anything. But it's going to be probably another hour before these things really get going. Let's see. So yeah, it's already putting out like an inch per hour or more. Looks like an inch to an inch and a half per hour rainfall rates already. But it's very slow moving. According to the NWS, it is only moving at 25 miles per hour, but it looks more like about 15. And they tend to speed up and slow down as the day goes on. So these storms are going to puff up in strength and then rain themselves out and then regain strength. So we'll get multiple severe thunderstorm warnings over and over again. We'll get mostly just heavy rain out of these, some small hail, but they're not really doing, and when they do dump hail, they will probably have a big microburst out of it, which is why they put this warning on here, because as you can see right here, that bright red on the right side on the radar around the corner of the camera there, as that storm formed, it had a microburst right there. So that's indicating that it's probably going to be doing that most of the day. Let's shrink this camera down. So that's a crazy looking camera shot that got turned straight up. It's supposed to be aimed at traffic, but in one of the storms it got turned up, and they've left it that way for a while. It's been like that all year. which is fine with me. Gives me a shot of the storm. So let me take this off of the dual setting. So that's the only storm right now, but more will come later. Severe thunderstorm warning is the yellow counties, or severe thunderstorm watch, I should say. And I'm going to turn that down a little too much. So not a whole lot going on right now yet. It's going to be coming up to southwest Baltimore, West Baltimore, Ellicott City, Columbia in the next hour. It's going to take a while to get anywhere. These storms are so slow moving, they're like crawling. That's better. So just our first contender for the day. I'll keep an eye on it. A lot more storms back in the mountains that are going to be coming through. These storms are moving a little faster today. We've got one forming on the Delaware coast. So that's the difference between today and yesterday. These storms are going to be popping up over the next couple hours randomly. Anywhere they can form. Just like this one did in Delaware here. But overall, it's not going to be that bad. We're getting a couple hours of where it's a little crazy with the thunder and lightning, and the clouds are going to look scary. But this camera is making this look a lot darker than it really is. There's something with this camera that it's a traffic cam, and it's a lot darker than normal. So the settings are messed up on it, but this is what it actually looks like. This is the next exit up from where that other camera is, so it's something with the camera making it look extra dark and dramatic. It doesn't really look like that in real life. It looks more like this one right here. But overall, we'll probably have storms into the night again. Tomorrow is going to be the worst day. I wish I could get rid of that easier. But these storms are more growing than they are moving. And it's going to start sprinkling all over the area because the atmosphere is loaded to the max right now, so it may be sunny where you're at and then start sprinkling suddenly. Whoops. The winds will start picking up. Alright, I'm just going to sit here and wait until we get something else going on. Kira, just remember that we don't get those monster storms like we do out west right now. We have little baby tiny toddler storms, and tornadoes, and what we get here is nothing compared to what they get out west. But your mind tells you that what's going on out here, and I can show you right here with these storm chasers are chasing active tornadoes in Illinois right now. What's happening out there in the Midwest is a completely different scenario than what we get here. So very rarely we do get those type of storms here, but it's only maybe every 10 or 15 years we'll get something like that. These guys here are out chasing these cells to keep people warned, but they're even having trouble today. It's out in Oklahoma and out in this is Paige. She's a female tornado chaser. Tornado Pagey, they call her. She drives right into them. But she's out there, and several others are out there. And I'm trying to organize some storm chasers in our area. There are some people that do it so that I can get better eyes on these storms when they happen. So hopefully we get that going. But as you can see here on this bottom camera, our storm clouds are nothing compared to what goes on out there in the Midwest. And right now they have a big tornado watch here in Illinois, Indiana, and the weather that's happening out there today is what is going to move to us tomorrow, but the mountains will help take some of the bite out of it. So I have a feeling tomorrow will be more like a straight line wind event, but we may get a couple of these small tornado warnings like we normally do, but I'm not too worried about it. See, here's the difference between the clouds out there and the storms out there, and there's a little tornado right there. You can see it, little spike tornado. But I was watching this earlier. They were chasing these storms through the cornfields, and there was multiple tornadoes everywhere. It's just like a whole different environment out there. The atmosphere is different. It's loaded for that type of weather more. And the mountains and the ocean, plus this bay, Chesapeake Bay, help divide everything up to the point where it complicates things for our storms. It makes it harder for them to stay as strong as they can get compared to out there in the Midwest. So overall, our stuff is amateur, small time, little stuff. And today is looking more like a microburst kind of day, where as the storm creates hail, the hail flies up and down. I don't know if you guys have ever known that, but the hail flies up and down inside the storm. The storm is drawing up the hot air off of the ground, and it sucks it up like a vacuum cleaner. And as it does that, the raindrops get blown straight up in the air inside the storm, and then they freeze when they get up a certain height. Well, then they get heavier as the water around them starts sticking to it, and it gets bigger and bigger, and that's how you get those rings inside the hail. The stronger those inflow winds are, the larger the hail gets and the stronger the storm is. So you can gauge a thunderstorm and its strength off of how much lightning it's putting out and how much hail, or how big the hail is, the size of the hail gets. And then there's another little microburst happening right here where it's bright colored. It's just a small neighborhood size, strong gust of wind, and it's really not even that strong. It's maybe 25-30 miles an hour. So that shows us the structure of the storm. It blew off one this way up towards Gaithersburg to the north. That's what that bright red is that way. And then it just fired one off to the south and east right there. So we can tell what the storms are doing using the different types of radar that we have at our hand, available to us. And then we can use the airport radar. That's what this orange button is over here. So this is BWI airport radar. It's a shorter range, but it looks lower in the sky, and it has a better a little better having a brain fart today. Resolution is what I'm trying to say. So it's a little bit finer detailed, so I can tell what's happening when it gets close. And there's that microburst coming off of that storm in better detail there. You can see it kind of puffing out. And a microburst is just the same thing as, imagine you have a bucket full of water and you dump it onto a pile of dry dirt. A lot of that dirt will blow up and a dust cloud will form as that water slaps down onto the ground. The same thing happens in a grander scale with a thunderstorm. As that thunderstorm dumps out that big bucket of water hanging in the sky over top of us, the microburst shoots out and that air gets displaced, and that's what causes the damage. It's just like a big giant bucket of water being dumped on top of us, and basically that's what's happening here, because it's dumping massive amounts of water, enough to cause this flash flood warning. So the thing about the Earth and our world is that everything happens on different scales. There's a microscopic all the way up to the giant class scale. And just like in the bathtub, when you pull the drain, you get that little swirly making all that noise as the water goes down the tub drain. That's just a miniature tornado vortex. And it's the difference between air pressures that pushes that water down that pipe. Same thing happens in the sky on a grander scale with a tornado. So it's a much slower scale compared to our normal brain's timeline of events happening, but it's a much larger scale. So we see that happening. It looks very scary to us, and it can cause a lot of damage, but in our part of the world at least, we typically do not see the same strength storms that we have out in the Midwest. Let's change over to this radar and take a look around the area. Most of these storms are still small. They're starting to pop up randomly. So wherever you're at, you'll probably run into one sooner or later. They're moving to the east, northeast a little bit. 20, 25 miles an hour. These orange warning boxes, special marine warning for people on boats. The drought is about caught up for most of the area. There's a couple spots in southern New Jersey that still need a lot of rain, and on the Delaware, Delmarva Peninsula, there is a little strip of area that's still a little dry, but mostly we're caught up for now, which is just in time for the hot season to come, so our grass doesn't turn brown and feel like AstroTurf. The main thing is the fires have slowed down. All the brush fires and wildfires, it was really crazy there back in March and April. I mean, the fire departments were running non-stop, putting out brush fires everywhere with those strong winds all day. And then, as dry as it was back then, we were almost 14 inches into the hole. So this is helping that. When we need to get this regular heavy rain this time of year, they call it the monsoonal season, spring to early summer. Excuse me for a few minutes, I need to take allergy medicine and get my mind straight before we So far, nothing real impressive besides a lot of lightning and heavy rain coming out of this. So, not too worried about it. It's trying to microburst a little bit, which means it's trying to form hail. It might have a tiny hail core in it. But overall, it's about the same level as the storms were last night. Just loud, not really super dangerous at this point. You can see on the cameras there, heavy rain. The camera at the top is facing straight up, so you can just barely see the top of the telephone pole on that shot. It got turned up in a strong storm months ago. And then the bottom storm, the bottom camera is showing the storm already passed there. So I'm going to move these cameras around a little bit and just try to find better shots while we watch the radar. On the right side of the split screen, this is what's called the hydrometer. And let me make sure I'm on the right setting. Yeah, the hydrometer classification uses the radar to determine what's happening inside this storm. And the bright red is hail or very heavy rain. It has a hard time determining the difference between the two. The small hail and the heavy drops of rain look identical to it, but more or less it's probably about the same. So this is starting to grow a hail core, and it's starting to split into two separate cells going two different directions. But they've dropped off the first severe thunderstorm warning that we had that was headed more towards the north of Baltimore, but they're still going to get the heavy strong rain. And the reason that they still have the severe thunderstorm warning on the bottom part, moving towards Laurel and over towards Annapolis more, Savanna Park, is because that is microbursting very slightly. It's not damaging winds, but it more than likely could do it at any time. So it's just precautionary at this level to make sure that they're actually covered, but we're going to move the cameras over and take a good look at what's going on at the ground level. So you can see on the camera here, and I'll make it a little larger. I'll move it up a little so it's a little easier to see. I'll put that over there so we can still see the radar a little bit. I'll undo the radar. Shrink that down so we can see what's happening there off to the side. So 95 south at Maryland 100 is just heavy rain. Zooming in on that, you can see the trees aren't moving. So what we're looking for is trees that are swaying back and forth, you know, lots of lightning strike, and we're getting that somewhat, but it's really not a whole lot of wind going on there. It's mostly heavy rain at this point, at this part of the storm. And if we go to the next cameras around. Basically, further south, just rain. 95 and 32, really heavy rain. So that's probably more of the core of the storm right there. It's dark and it's heavy rain. Look in the opposite direction from the same area, pretty much the same thing. The welcome center on 95, you know, halfway between DC and Baltimore. Sometimes those cameras don't work. Oh, there we go. So that's probably the heaviest of the rain right there, but still no wind. The trees aren't whipping around. Traffic's moving okay. Down at 216 and 95. Same thing. Heavier rain actually, because now we've got traffic slowing down and people with their flashers on while they're driving. That indicates definitely starting to get to the point where they can't see. They're having difficulty. Hail, you can tell people will be parked on the side of the road or up underneath bridges. At Patuxent River, that's an older camera, but you can see same thing. Big drops. .198. Extremely heavy rain, foggy looking rain. And hardly any tree movement. So this is really not that bad of a storm. It's going to be producing flash flooding though. You can see the roads. Look at the cars, they're like plowing water. Big trails coming off of them. People have slowed down a lot on this stretch of 95 especially. People fly through here 85, 90 miles an hour, so mostly just good heavy rain, which we need to stay caught up. .95 and 495, not that bad. You can see the big trails coming off the back of the vehicles. They look like boats on the water. More or less they are. So still not that bad. Looks worse on radar. Now we are what? 32 and 97. So Route 97 probably has some good views because it's ahead of the storm. See what the storm looks like coming at us out in the clear. Not a lot of cameras work on that road, but we'll see what we can get. So all the way to the top, 695 and 97 doesn't work. Looking southbound, 197. Camera doesn't work. 648 B&A Boulevard. That's looking north at the city, wrong direction. Looking south, can't see anything. New Cut Road, 97. Good camera shot, but there's nothing in view. And it's dry. Benfield Boulevard, starting to get down there a little bit. You can see some black clouds in the sky. But the roads are dry and people are rolling. 97 north. Camera's out. Camera's useless. Why they would mount one on the guardrail like that? Like that's literally mounted like on the guardrail, on the off-ramp. Like that's not going to get hit sooner or later. That's the craziest camera in the whole state of Maryland right there. It's just a matter of time before that gets wiped out. And unfortunately, we do not get back footage. I was so disappointed about that. But our Maryland state traffic cams are live only. They don't record at all. And I missed it by a minute and a half. I was watching live when the bridge got hit at early in the morning, because I had noticed that the dolly was smoking black smoke that day when I went to the doctor's appointment in Baltimore. My wife even pointed it out. It looked like a big building fire. So when we came home that night, I stayed up all night like I normally do, watching the Baltimore port cam, and they had the dolly being moved live on that camera. And I said, "Look, hon, that's that ship that's leaving." And sure enough, it was flickering, the lights were flickering, and I said, "Oh, something bad's gonna happen." And then I didn't even think about it until it was too late. It already hit the bridge, and I said, "Oh, I should have got the view from the traffic cams and recorded that on my computer." But it was too late. It's only live. It does not give you backlog at all. Some states do, but Maryland does not. So Route 50 and 97, two big vultures sitting there waiting for the storm. That's a cool shot. Check that out. That's a meme waiting to happen right there. I gotta save that. That's classic. That's hilarious. Two buddies hanging out watching traffic go by. Up on the light pole there. Looks like vultures. I'm surprised they don't have their wings open. Usually they'll sit there in the mornings and sun themselves with their wings open. It's creepy as hell. But yeah, so far nothing really impressive happening with this storm. Save that footage for later. I recorded 30 seconds of those vultures sitting there like that so I can make a meme out of it later. That's classic. Couple of trees down near intersection of Woodfield Road and Brinks Road in Montgomery County. So that was probably from that microburst that set off the severe thunderstorm warning earlier. We can back it up. 30 frames of radar. Oh, there it is. So that was right here. Goshen Hunt Estates, Woodfield Road, Brink Road, Burnham Woods area, Montgomery County. And if we back up the radar, put it on velocity radar. Nothing real obvious, but barely. Those birds are siblings probably, because they're still play feeding each other. Fledglings that have left the nest, but they're still hanging out with each other, and they'll do that for the first year. So not a big burst, but right there you can see just a big bright microbursting storm there. It's doing it again over here. So if you're under this cell with this severe thunderstorm warning, you likely are going to see some strong gusts, and we can only see they're talking about 70-mile-an-hour gusts coming out of this, so this can be definitely at ground level a lot stronger. Let's look at the PWI radar, which is right in the center of the storm. Then we can see what's going on a little better. I'll put the birds away. And on our sky cam, we have another cell aimed straight up, going over top. Real dark. So the sky cam and the bird cam. Is my feed still working? Is anybody in here? Can you guys hear me? How you doing, Eater? We've got us a microbursting thunderstorm here, south of Baltimore, north of Annapolis, north of DC. Moving very slow. I feel like that's not correct. I didn't think so. BWI radar is not time aligned correctly. So we may have a little tornado happening here. Possible tornado in the Odenton area. So take cover if you're in this severe thunderstorm warning. It's got 70-mile-an-hour winds, and it is rotating. It does have a rotation near the Piney Orchard area, south of Odenton, on the south end of Odenton, I should say. Let's see, 97, Route 97. I've got cameras up for. Let's see if we can get a shot of this. We are at Route 97 and 32. Not a lot of these cameras work. Ooh, it is dark. that. So 70 mile an hour wind gust possible. This should have a tornado possible tag on it because it is rotating. Golf ball size hail coming out of this thing. It is growing up quickly. Definitely some rotation in that, tightening up. Definitely looks like it's got some rotation, heavy rotation in southern Odenton, passing through like Four Seasons Estates. It's just about over to Millersville, Tall Timbers. This thing is rotating hard, putting out big hail, and it may have 70 mile an hour with straight line wind gusts as well. But this storm is definitely rotating. You can see on the camera on the bottom right corner there, that's what it looks like at 97 and 32, looking at that storm. And this rotation is very pronounced. We're very close to BWI. I'm going to switch radar, see if we can use their base velocity to see a little lower into the sky, but I don't think their radar is working right now because it's lagging. Yeah, it's lagging behind, so don't trust the BWI radar at the moment. It's definitely not working. It's off by an hour at least. So we'll go back to our storm here. Is moving slowly to the east. It's in the Route 3 and 97 intersection area just south of Odenton. And it is rotating. You can see what they call a tornado couplet here. And this is where the tornado would be located. Now let's double check. Correlation coefficient. Make sure we're not seeing any debris in the sky. And it does have a little bit of an S pattern where it could be throwing up. Yeah, it's probably throwing up a little debris. This could be a tornado on the ground. A very weak, small tornado, but definitely something is happening here. In the Odenton area, south of Odenton, south of Gambrels, in the Route 332 area. Let me split screen it. Got a big hail core with the dark reds indicating very heavy hail moving into that area too. So you got to remember that these radar scans can be a couple seconds behind. This storm has definitely gotten very strong very quickly. And it does show a little bit of debris here and there, nothing major, just like trash flying around type, but it does have some signature to it. So the camera that's closest is 97 and 32. It's really starting to shake as the storm gets closer. It's not raining there yet, but the winds are picking up. This camera was stable a minute ago. Is anybody else still in here? It seems like Facebook dropped out. I only show 2 viewers. Normally I have more than that. So this is definitely most likely a tornado here. This should have a severe thunderstorm warning on it. I mean a tornado warning on it. A tornado possible tag at least. This is absolutely a tornado here. Let's see where else we can find cameras to look. Most of these cameras on 97 do not work. And you can see it's lowered the cloud base over here. None of these cameras are working. Very heavy rain at Route 100. Yeah, I don't think Facebook is working correctly. It's not. Alright, I'm